Minnesota won 34-26. JJ McCarthy was 15 of 24, 150 yards, two touchdowns, one interception. Dak was 23 of 38, 294 yards. And first of all, kudos to JJ McCarthy. I've been very, very critical of him this season, but he's really shown improvement, especially last week against Washington. And I know Washington's defense hasn't been any good this season, but still, you got to give the man credit where it's due, and he's a young quarterback, and he played pretty well against Dallas. And I thought it would be an unmitigated disaster after he had an interception in the first play, and it was just a freaky play where he just batted it to Quinnen Williams. I thought he would melt down, but he was able to bounce back, and it just shows that he's having better mental toughness for sure. First half in the game, it was nip and tuck, 17-17. I thought Dallas would be able to pull away because, A, they're the better team, and B, they were still doing very well offensively, and I thought the defense would be able to just get to JJ McCarthy even more and be able to stifle Minnesota's offense in the second half, but that simply just wasn't the case. Dallas had all the momentum on their side. They were up 23-17, but then the Vikings proceeded to score like 17 straight points, and while JJ McCarthy was up and down and he missed some open throws to Justin Jefferson, he really made some big boy throws also. In the third quarter, he had a big throw to TJ Hawkinson, and then on 4th and 3, he had a big throw to Jalen Naylor, which absolutely changed the momentum of the game to put Minnesota up 24-23. And after that, Dallas's offense pretty much stalled. They missed their second field goal in the fourth, 59 yards, and they missed another field goal earlier in the first half, which was 51 yards. And that's surprising for someone like Aubrey, who's able to hit like 60-yard field goals on a routine basis. But he just wasn't on his game against Minnesota. And I guess that happens. Sometimes field goal kickers just have off games. Unfortunately, the Cowboys can't really afford their field goal kicker to have off games because they were trying to make the playoffs. But Dallas was terrible on third down, 2 of 12. Mini wasn't good either, 2 of 9, but I felt that Minnesota was explosive offensively in the second half, and Dallas just wasn't, and their offense just stalled. I thought Dak threw the ball very well in the first half, had a couple explosive plays, and they ran the ball okay. Javonte Williams had a pretty decent day at the office, 15 carries for 91 yards, which isn't half bad. Minnesota, on the other hand, couldn't do anything when it came to running the ball. Aaron Jones, 12 carries for 34 yards, and Jordan Mason, 10 carries for 29 yards, and that makes what JJ McCarthy did even more impressive, because a guy like him who isn't that skilled as a quarterback, he needs a good running game. But despite the fact that Minnesota didn't have a good running game and they were still able to get the dub and still put up 30 plus points, is very damn impressive. And I'm very disappointed in Dallas's defense because A, they gave up 30 plus to Minnesota's offense, and it looked like after they made their trades with like Williams coming on board, Logan Wilson coming on board, that their defense would get better. And it certainly has been better, but they're still giving up points. They gave up 44 against Detroit, which you can just chalk up to Detroit being a better team, but 30 plus to Minnesota, that's just crazy. And Minnesota had some injuries. They had a couple linemen out like Darisaw and Rouse, and Dallas's defense really couldn't get to JJ much. They only had like 5, 6 quarterback pressures, and when JJ McCarthy had time to throw, he was able to carve up Dallas's defense. When he had more than 2.5 seconds in the pocket, he was able to throw 10 for 14, 187 yards, and a touchdown. And when he didn't, it didn't look all that good. But anyways, Dallas is officially out of the playoffs. They have to revamp their defense because Dak has just been playing out of his mind. And it seems like as he's getting older, and even though Dak has had some brutal injuries as he's gotten older, he's still gotten better as a quarterback, and he's throwing the ball very, very well. And it just seems like he's like one of these veteran quarterbacks like Peyton Manning back in the day or Tom Brady back in the day, where he's just like well equipped to run the offense and just call out plays, and like it just seems like he's just in command of the whole operation, which is a sign of a pretty damn good quarterback. And I think Dak has some pretty good years ahead of him. And I think Jerry will be even more motivated to revamp the defense. He obviously made the trades, but now with Dallas missing the playoffs because Philly, they're not going to lose 3 games. They're not going to lose twice against the Commanders and lose to the Bills. They may lose to the Bills, but I think that they can absolutely get a win against the Commanders. Dallas has pretty much been irrelevant. Last season was obviously horrible with Dak's injury, and this season they've just been up and down. And I think Jerry Jones, if anything, wants relevancy. I don't think he cares all that much about winning a Super Bowl despite all that he says, but he absolutely cares about being relevant and making the playoffs, because if you just aren't relevant, then you're not going to be able to be a soap opera 24/7, 365 days a year like he wants. So he'll be motivated to get Dallas back into the dance, and so that they can be more relevant and all the TV shows can talk about them even more. I mean, of course, the TV shows have been talking about them regularly because they are the Dallas Cowboys, but when they're a playoff team, it just gives more credence to talk about them on a regular basis. So Jerry Jones, he's going to try his best to revamp the defense, and I think he's probably seen the error of his ways when it came to not investing on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Dallas will be better in that regard, and I think they'll definitely be back in the playoff mix next season for sure.